I'm Mike Shrews.
I'm Tivis.
And you're listening to
The MunsterCast.
Episode 40. Yeah. All right, welcome back, everybody, to the MunsterCast, the podcast where we watch and talk about the Munsters. I am, of course, your host, Mike Shrews, here with my co-host and friend, Tivis. Tivis, how you doing today, my man?
I just hit my funny bone.
Good. And joining us today is another friend and of mine and of the podcast, hopefully. Austin Mosher is returning today. Austin, how you doing today, my man?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Tired.
Sick.
I feel it. Oh, no, that's not good.
Tivis was playing with some kiddies and kids, not kiddies. Yeah, this is what happens. This is why we don't play with kids, Tivis.
We had my nieces and nephew over for Labor Day. Quit making it weirder than it has to be.
All right, real quick before we dive into the show today, guys, you can find the MunsterCast on all social medias at TheMunsterCast. You can also go to TheMunsterCast.com and check out all the podcast videos and articles that we do there as well. What else am I thinking? What am I missing here? We are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And then, of course, you can watch us and see our pretty ugly faces on the YouTube at the MunsterCast. And other than that, there's not much else going on, guys.
The website.
I already said the website, themunstercast.com. You can visit that there. And we have the munstercast.com/merch. To get to the merch store, or just go to the website and click on the merch tab up in the corner.
And if you want to support us, you can find us on Patreon as well. You could also just give us a rating, review on whatever podcatcher you use, or tell a friend. All that stuff helps us.
Yes, definitely helps us. And I'd like, since we have a guest / friend on the show today, I'd like to bring up, because last time we talked, we were told in a comment that all of our friends are commenting or leaving reviews and lying about us.
Oh, you're gonna bring this up?
I know for a fact Austin hasn't left a review anywhere.
Yeah, what the heck?
And
I have not
on the show now twice.
Is that a conflict of interest now?
I have not left a review. I honestly, I listened to on Spotify, and I didn't know if.
No, they don't do reviews. They just do like the stars or whatnot.
Yeah, so I
know mine doesn't do reviews either. I use Downcast because iTunes broke theirs years ago, and it crashes on me every time I open it. So I just don't even touch it.
Yeah. But no, I just wanted to bring that up because for some reason people think that, podcasts are done and then just their friends listen and comment and stuff. And that's not the case. Half the time I can't even get my family to just click a stupid link, So it's you guys out there, the fans that don't know us personally on a personal level, that really get this show going and have built it up to what it is. And we appreciate that so much, guys.
Mosher is literally the only and Kenny are the only two people I know that listen.
Yeah. As on that physically and stuff like that.
Yeah, that I know.
Yeah. Awesome, man. And then also, if you guys do want to join the Patreon, it's patreon.com/TheMunsterCast. And there, nothing is hidden behind the paywall there. We just are doing it as an extra. Here you go. It costs some money to produce this, so we're just trying to.
Yeah. If you got an extra buck in your pocket, basically, if you won't miss it, otherwise, whatever.
Yeah.
Reviews and sharing the show works just as well.
I'd rather you share the show and leave reviews. Awesome. So with that said, guys, do we want to jump into this? Because Austin is here because today, guys, is our season 2 of the podcast finale. Finally, we took a week off because of Labor Day and mainly because Tivis got the day wrong and switched it up. So
you told me we were taking a week off. I thought that meant a week off.
A week off after the finale, not a week.
That
off.
was after it came out last week.
I said the podcast finale. Anyways, blame it on Tivis for not having an episode last week. That's what I'm doing. All right, so this week we are diving into Mini Munsters, and do you want to jump on into this real quick, man? Like, you both all watched it, right?
Yes.
All right, which version did you watch? Because there are two separate versions.
I watched both.
Okay.
I watched the shorter of the two, and I had intentions of watching the 45-minute long one as well, but I never had time.
I definitely recommend you watch the 45-minute one because it's so much better.
I watched that one first and then the shorter, and I got angry at how much was cut out.
Yeah.
Like there was stuff that happened for no reason in the short one.
Yeah. So
I almost lost my cough drop.
Doing the Mini Munsters.
All right. So the Mini Munsters aired October 27, 1973, written by Norm Liebman and Ed Haas, with Alan Burns doing the format. Now, Alan Burns also worked on the format with Mockingbird Lane, Scary Little Christmas, Here Come the Munsters, Revenge, and the original show. He also wrote 73 episodes of Munsters Today and one of the two creators of My Mother the Car, which is probably not a good credit, considering it's gone down as one of the worst sitcoms ever made.
It has an interesting premise, though. I want to watch it. I want to find it and watch it.
This was directed by Gerald Baldwin, who has written and directed many episodes of various Smurf shows. Directed Yogi's First Christmas, It's Grinch Night, which is Halloween Grinch short that many people have forgotten over the years, and 4 episodes of Tiny Toon Adventures. The cast, now we got Richard Long voicing Herman Munster, Al Lewis returning for Grandpa, Cynthia Adler for Lily Munster. Eddie has conflicting credits because if you watch this, the credits, they just list the names of everyone who did voices and not who they voiced. So IMDb thinks Stuart Goetz, I think is how you pronounce that, voiced Eddie. The Wikipedia and the voice actors from the World fandom think Bobby Diamond voiced Eddie. But let's get into these other voices. Stuart Goetz, he moved into the music department and has like 85 credits to his name. So he's got a vast career in that. Highly recommend checking that out. We got Bobby Diamond, as I mentioned. Henry Gibson, who we do know played Mr. Grundy. We got Arnold Stang, Jack Delon, who voiced Kraven the Hunter in the 80s Spider-Man and the Human Torch and Mole Man in the 60s Fantastic Four. Bob Arbogast, I think, who was what?
Nothing. I just want to know from fans out there, let us know if you want Tivis to continue doing the names as we move forward.
I have a feeling they enjoy this. But Bob here, he did the announcers for the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, which is my favorite Scooby-Doo iteration, I might add. Ron Feinberg, who was Claw and Cosmos in the 80s Incredible Hulk, Andre the Giant in Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling, Ming the Merciless and Morlock from Defenders of the Earth, Headstrong and Agar from the Transformers, Terrax from the 90s Fantastic Four, and 3 voices in the Star Trek Klingon Academy game. So, huge career there. Check that guy out. And finally, we have Paul Shivney, who was Mr. Katie in Scrubs.
Okay. That's a lot.
Yeah, they had a lot of voices.
That's a lot.
And many of them did multiple characters that went unlisted. So
yeah. Yeah. All
Thank God we have proper credits today.
I'm just gonna do a synopsis, and then we'll try and figure out how we're going to gauge like how we're gonna do this, because it's interesting. I don't want to go like scene for scene like we did with the show before, you know.
Oh, all right.
I guess Tivis might have broke down the whole show. I don't know.
Only the short one.
Okay. All right. So the Mini Munsters aired October 27th, 1973, as Tivis stated. When Eddie gets a new car, he realizes it can be powered by music. So the teen teams up with his cousins and forms a band. Unfortunately, the vehicle is a threat to a greedy gangster who runs an oil refinery. Dun, dun, dun.
And before we go any further, I want to say that this was actually part of the ABC Saturday Superstar movie block, which I believe was hosted by Al Lewis as well.
Was it hosted by Al Lewis?
I'm pretty sure that was on his credits.
Okay.
I'll double check that, but I think so.
So diving into this, because Austin, you only watched the shorter version, which both versions, guys, are on our YouTube page. If you want to go and watch them there, I tossed them up, so it was easier for everyone to find them before we decided to talk about them. Which apparently, if you mark them as made for kids, hey, there's a lot more views on one of them for the kids. Apparently, they've been popping up on the kids' videos. Oh,
I misunderstood. He didn't host it. He just appeared as Grandpa in it.
Okay. All right. Well, Austin, how about you start us out, man?
Well,
what did you think?
I was going in with pretty low expectations because I wasn't. For one thing, I had never seen this before, so I was just like, okay. But I kind of didn't hate it. I thought it was fun. I thought the animation was very reminiscent of like those, like the old like Rocky and Bullwinkle, cartoons and stuff like that. And and I thought a lot of the humor and stuff I thought was very very true to like the humor of the show.
I thought a lot of the writing was like spot on for the characters,
and the voice cast of Herman I thought was very good. I thought he delivered that character very well.
Yeah, he actually reminds me the voice. I know Tivis said who it was, but the voice actually reminds me of kind of how Herman is played in one of the later movies. I think it was the first movie without the original cast from what was his name? The dude's name is literally Herman. He has Herman in his name.
I think it's Edward Herman.
Edward Herman,
maybe
something like that. But like he plays Herman. That's kind of like the vibe I was getting from this, because I've seen clips of that version of Herman, and just the way he spoke and stuff, I was like, awesome. That's kind of cool. And my dog agrees, apparently.
No, but I really like it, and I really like the fact that the voice of the gangster is just a Marlon Brando from The Godfather impression. and this is like just 1 year after The Godfather came out, so I thought that was pretty funny.
It is Edward Herman in Here Comes the Munsters.
Edward, okay. Yeah. Also, he plays Richie Rich's dad with, in the live action Richie Rich movie. Anyways, stupidity. It was totally like one of those shows. Like watching it, I was getting more like Rocky Bullwinkle, like any of that old like Hanna-Barbera stuff too. Like I was just thinking of that. There were scenes in there where like Eddie just looks like a tall, lanky version, like a vampire version of Shaggy sometimes. Just like that's like Scooby-Doo. What did you guys think of the fact that they have Spot now playing checkers? Did they do that in the short version?
No, they didn't. They cut it out completely. It's just Herman staring at a checkers board with no one playing with him.
Yeah. and until his tail comes in and grabs like the stuff.
Yeah, he's literally not seen until the end when they go to steal the invention and then kidnap him.
Yeah.
And still, he just like moves in like the castle or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, they still. That's one thing I like that because they still didn't show Spot as like a full blown dragon in this. They still just it was like his tail, his foot. It wasn't like him at all. I don't even think they actually showed his head in this.
No, they did recolor him orange though, which I thought was weird. Maybe it clashed with the coloring.
Maybe. I think the longer black and white version, I think you would really like that one if you enjoyed what you saw already, Austin.
I
adds
recommend
in
that one
so much more to the story going on.
Like I said, I intended on watching it. It was just more of a like I watched the shorter one right when you sent me the links.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I have plenty of time to watch the longer one. And then between like work and other things and
if you only watch the short one, there's like characters that pop up in parts where there's just no explanation. Like the race, Herman is just in the car for no reason. And especially later on, like a lot gets cut out of the last bit. And there's so much like why this person is there, and there's a lot of fluff they cut out too, like the checker stuff, but I feel like there's a lot of key moments that are just gone.
They do some moments, and I'm not sure if it's in the short version because I didn't watch the short version. Like I skipped through it on YouTube after I uploaded it because I was like,
it was rough.
I mean, no matter what, I watched like whatever's in the short version, so I knew that. So I didn't, call. If you guys want to attack me for not watching that version, whatever. But I only watched the black and white longer version. But it was interesting to see because in this there were like a lot of elements from the show, not just like how the story was written, but like so. In the longer version, they actually go to the car dealership to where they get the hearse and stuff like that. And it reminded me of when like Herman was going to the one dealership in the episode that was like a Ponzi scheme, like dealership, not a Ponzi scheme, but like where they basically ripped him off by selling him a busted ass car. And then they took off as soon as they sold it to him. It reminded me of that scene from the live action version.
Yeah.
And then they just incorporated it into the cartoon. And there were several scenes throughout the animation that it just reminded me of things that they did. Like, so in the episode, they are able to use music to get the car to go. We find out later down the road that it was an invention that Grandpa made in the car to make the car not go as fast, I guess, or as far or something like that. But
it was to stop him from speeding.
Yeah.
Like Eddie from speeding.
Right. So, but like there was a malfunction because of the music playing. It like changed with wrong? It. Yeah. He's like, where did I go wrong? Where didn't you go wrong, Grandpa? Herman is just like, what do you mean? You're always blowing up your inventions and shit in the basement. But yeah, so like that's the premise of it. Is like Grandpa basically accidentally created this machine that lets vehicles run based on music. So, then they go from that, like after the race scene, into like Grandpa becoming like famous about creating another invention that takes away gasoline. And they did this previously in the live action where Grandpa made the gasoline pill, which was going to ruin the gas industry, the oil refinery industry and stuff like that. So I was like, it's kind of cool to see these like different things that they semi took from the live action and tossed into here. So it's pretty cool.
I do like the fact that even back then, the gas companies were still the villains.
Yeah. Right. And this one, though, it made it like there was a villain attacking the gas industry. And then, but he was like, the gas industry is bad, But then there was a villain that was also being the villain for the gas industry, and then Grandpa was the villain for them. So it's like Inception villain.
We're part of another group on Facebook called the Munsters Today fans, and it's run by a bunch of European
fans
of the Munsters Today, obviously. Yeah. And Frank, the admins, he got back to me about this show, and he said, this is where the concept that will carry over into Munsters Today of Eddie becoming a teenager, and also their doorbell comes from, which is that's going to be cool to see going forward. It's like, oh my God, Eddie in the beginning of this was a little shit. I couldn't stand him. So I hope that's not something we get to look forward to.
He was still better than the unaired pilot Eddie, though.
Oh God, yeah.
Anything's better than that. It did shock me he had like the fangs though for being more vampire. Another proof that there's less werewolf. I don't know where people get this werewolf shit from, but there's a lot more vampire tendencies that show up in him than werewolf ever does, at least as up to this point in our viewing.
They get the werewolf because he's advertised as a werewolf. We've been over this.
That's it. That's all he is. He's just advertised as one. They don't show it except for in the pilot.
But they do say things like he's howling at the moon and stuff like that, like all boys do.
But things that we don't see, though. We never
like
actually
normal
see these
Transylvania
things.
children.
That could just be Eddie putting it on for his parents to make him think that he's a normal boy for him.
I like how he's become more social in this one by playing football, surfing, and like playing in his music and stuff. He's studying more, and that's one of the things Herman's like upset about.
Yeah, he was on the baseball team. They were always
so
what? He was on the baseball team. Like he did sports.
I know,
live action show.
In this one, Herman's like worried, especially since they were so adamant that he did his schoolwork in that original show. In this one, he's like, "You shouldn't be studying.
Yeah,
that's not normal."
He still calls him Pop. I like that. I like that they kept that in there. Teenage Eddie is weird. I will say that it comes off weird. Like, yeah.
I did think the aspect of him playing in a band was very like kind of like try hard to be hip kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It's like a Josie and the Pussycats kind of. It's just like
it's very much of the time in the 70s.
Well, there was rumors that this was supposed to also be just like everything out there, you know. They're like,
would eventually be a show.
It was going to be a show or a pilot for the show.
I could see it becoming a kid show.
Maybe.
But can I point out that Igor and Vampricia, is that her name?
Oh, the cousins, yeah.
Yeah. They arrived through LAX, yet another proof that this family lives in California.
Yeah. Well, I think that they've proven that they live in California. So
yeah, I know, but there's still naysayers out there.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah,
they live in California, and Grandpa is like an upstanding Republican. Remember that, people. Because we've been told that in the show. So,
what'd you guys think about the designs of the characters? I loved in quite a few scenes they have Herman shown as so tall that his head gets like cut off by like an awning or other stuff.
I thought the character designs were fine. I thought I don't know. I think maybe the one I liked the least was maybe Eddie.
Did you? Yeah, Eddie.
Yeah, he's
poor Eddie. What did you not like about his design? Because to me, like I said, it reminded me a lot more of Scooby-Doo than anything.
Yeah. I don't know. It didn't really like, for me, it didn't really exude what Eddie was. He looked more like you said, more vampiric.
Yeah.
And
puberty, man. Puberty changes.
It was, I don't know. It was just the least, like, I could buy into the other ones. Like, you can tell that the like grandpa was modeled after the character in the show, and obviously Herman is just like a Frankenstein's monster. Mm-hmm. So it's like that one's not hard to get right. Wrong. Yeah. So everything else was like pretty good, but I don't know, Eddie just seemed a little off. Not terribly, but just.
I think it's because we're so used to seeing him as a little kid still, that jumping into his teenage years, and like, because we're not told how far apart this is, because we also don't get a Marilyn.
Well, we do know it's his 16th birthday.
We don't get a Marilyn,
but there's no.
Yeah, where the hell's Marilyn?
There's no Marilyn at all. She's just like gone. She's like, nope.
Poor Marilyn.
She was busy on her succubus, work out there, people. Just remember that. So they couldn't have a succubus in a kid's animated show. So a Dracula, yes. No succubus. Alleged succubus. Sorry, Tivis. I know you like to use allegedly.
Well, how'd you guys feel about that open? Because we start with a pan of Mockingbird Lane, like going through the houses towards their house, and then instead of the normal music, we get Eddie playing the drums.
I was fine with it.
I was fine with it too. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the intro.
I mean, I didn't expect to hear the Munsters theme song from the show.
Yeah.
Because they're different shows. It's like going forward. I'm sure that like Munsters today and all the movies and stuff don't use it either. And I didn't expect that. It's just you don't really use music from other creations.
You're gonna get like different variations and stuff, possibly,
I'm okay with that.
It's not like Disney constantly shoving the X-Men theme song down our throats and everything right now, because they're like, hey, remember this?
I'm just going at this from like the Doctor Who perspective, where it's had basically the same theme song, just done like
Doctor
20
Who is
different.
Like a beast of itself, though, because it's been around for like close to
60 years next year.
Just 60? I thought they came out in the 60s last year, or in the 1960s, not last year. They come up.
It aired the same day JFK was assassinated.
Okay. All right.
November 23rd, 1963.
But I kind of look at it more like how they do like the Superman and Batman themes, where it's like every kind of theme after, like the famous John Williams and like Danny Elfman, like things, like every theme for those characters kind of has hints of those in there, but they're not that.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Could you imagine Tim Burton's Batman using the Adam West Batman thing?
That'd be amazing.
There's a lot of those deep fake editors out there. Let's get that going,
Oh man.
Anyways, as far I noticed this right away when I did start the short version. The whole beginning of this episode is just cut off. So the very beginning of the episode actually starts in Transylvania.
Yeah, it does.
And with another Count something or another, I don't recall his name, and he's sending the pigeon that goes and lands on Herman's head. Was not pigeon, sorry, bat.
Wasn't it? I think his name is Zumi or something like that.
Something like that. Maybe they were that could have been a cool,
maybe it's Zuki
character set up and stuff, but Yeah, he sent him over with the message and stuff to Grandpa. And the funny thing was, he called him. He said, cousin Herman and Grandpa. He didn't say Sam or Dracula. He just like Herman and Grandpa. Like, he's not
It's
your
a
grandpa.
moniker that he's proud of.
I guess so.
That is one of my favorite aspects of Grandpa's character, is that he's never given really a name. It's just Grandpa.
Yeah.
Oh, they gave him a name.
Did they? I don't remember that.
Yeah, he's Sam. His name's Sam.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember that.
It's Sam Dracula. And there's actually one episode that I thought you would really like if you haven't gotten to it yet in the original, but we were talking about it. I'm like, dude, it's a complete like not homage, but like reference to the Batman show, because it'd come out around the same time.
Yeah, they were like competitors. That was like part of the reason why they were canceled, wasn't it? It was the Batman show.
Yeah, that's when a lot of stuff got canceled because of the Batman show. But no, there was like a reference of like he goes and he's like, Count Dracula to the rescue, and then he runs down to his basement, and he's at a phone booth like Batman would be. Then he runs down to the basement, which is like the Bat Cave. He takes the bat pill to change into a bat, and then he turns into a bat, and he busts out the door and leaves the bat imprint. I was like, this is totally in reference to Batman. There's no way.
That was so fun.
And it's such
like
a
the
random,
second to last as well. It's
one of the last episodes, and it's so random as hell. Like, I'm just like,
I had to show that scene to my wife. She's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
It sounds pretty good. I haven't gotten that far in my rewatch yet.
This show though, it would have been interesting because how we did like, Scooby-Doo meets Batman. If we would have eventually have done the Munsters meet Batman, if this would have lasted, like the animation and stuff like that, it'd been kind of cool to see.
It is the kind of show that I feel like it would do something like that.
Yeah,
it would be nice if they did, but it's all dependent on the owners.
Studios. Yeah. Oh yeah, because Warner Brothers,
Universal, and
Scooby-Doo and stuff
Warner
like that, right?
Or Turner. I think it was Turner back then.
Yeah. For what?
The name of everything was like Turner, whatever.
Turner.
Yeah.
Turner and his failing companies.
Because it didn't get renamed until Warner Bros. Until after he sold it. Like, that was after WCW, wasn't it?
What? Warner Brothers has always been Warner Brothers.
Well, I mean, it's been a division. Maybe I'm probably wrong.
Warner Brothers has existed forever.
It's like over at least 100 years old. At least
I thought the over umbrella.
I want to say
we're getting off topic. Nobody cares about this.
Everyone cares.
So
1923, so almost 100 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyways, moving along.
No, I'm just looking through my notes.
I am on a time limit today. So,
I gotta say, one of my favorite scenes from this cartoon though was when Mr. Murdoch, the mafia guy, pulls up and asks for directions for the oil refinery, and Grandpa's like, "Oh, yeah, you know a widow that died over there. I should check in on her." And they're like, "Maybe we should ask someone else." He's like, "Why? They're just going to tell you the same thing I will."
And he's like, over down this corner, turn to the left at the wolf like bone or something. Like, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, that whole first interaction with the mobsters as they were like asking for directions was classic Munsters stuff where they're just saying like these really outlandish things, but they're just like, yeah, this is just the directions.
Yeah.
And I thought that was great.
And then even on the note that the bat brings, it has like a message of beware of rain-soaked strangers, particularly the ones you talk to. Even in the long version, there's no explanation for that.
Yeah.
It's like, well, are you trying to give me it's a little late if you already know I talked to him.
Yeah, Well, I mean, the guy was like, "Oh, now he's in the fortune teller or fortune cookie business." That's awesome. But yeah, I'm trying to think of some of the key points like that would have been in the both versions, so we can both talk about it.
When they go to get Eddie's car, I also like that one because they're checking out the hearse, and we don't get reference to Herman working at the parlor, but they kind of allude to it when he's he's like, "Oh, this brings back memories," and it kind of reminds me of back when early in season 1 where he's in the carpool with Charlie. Yeah, not his brother Charlie, but his coworker Charlie that we never meet, where he would ride in the back of the hearse.
Yeah, that's what I thought they were taking from. I was assuming that it was like in reference to the show of him working for the parlor, which I'm assuming he doesn't do anymore. I guess 10 years of working there, he's probably retired, or Mr. Gateman is dead now. So
I will be interested to see what happens with Munsters today when they do the time jump, because we know that's a thing. Right. What's he going to do for a job? Can he go back to his job after missing for 20 years?
It's the 80s. He's a politician now.
That's Grandpa.
Grandpa, the Reagan Republican.
Don't forget also to go and get the Let's Back the Team of Munster and Dracula t-shirt from TheMunsterCast.com/merch. If you're watching the video too, I am wearing the shirt so you guys can actually see what it looks like on like a normal person and not a model.
I'm wearing Brendan Cutler's Tiamat shirt.
And Mr. Austin over here is wearing a
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who, okay.
Yeah.
And a horrible hat, man. I mean, just wear the cheese one at least.
I can go get it if you want me to.
No.
If you can't tell by us going constantly off topic, is this cartoon wasn't terrible, but it wasn't that entertaining.
It didn't have much to it. It did have like there were a lot of points, at least in the longer version, where Herman was driving the hearse. And he was trying to like kind of push these like PSA messages on everybody. Like the whole like he was
constantly trying to throughout the entire thing.
Yeah, it was weird. Like maybe the writers were just like, didn't Herman like always do these cool like speeches? Let's get him to try and do those throughout the episode. And I'm like, this is not Herman Munster, guys. Like there's a lot of spots where I'm just like, it feels very forced,
One of the things that I got upset about with the cartoon, with the shorter version, is when they're at the airport, it just starts with the person on the intercom saying, flight from Transylvania arriving at gate whatever, and it just, you see all the luggage and shit everywhere, like it's a dystopian airport. Completely cut out the scene where Herman's combing his hair in the tinted windows. It breaks.
Yeah.
Everyone sees them and goes bolting out of the place. So it's just an abandoned. Also, they don't explain why the two cousins have to come down the luggage retrieval, because the people on the plane are too scared to get off at the sight of her.
Maybe they were in the luggage the entire time. They didn't actually take the plane.
Well, maybe, but
so what did you guys think of Lily in this? Because for me, what I gauged was it actually seems like this might be the version of Lily that Sherry Moon Zombie might be doing a little bit, because it seemed like it. And on top of that, unfortunately, this one, the way she talked, for me anyways, reminded me a lot more of like a Morticia Addams.
I felt the same way with the knitting, because she's sitting there knitting like the octopus sweater, which is something that Morticia literally does.
Yeah. What did you think, Austin?
Yeah, I definitely got more of a Morticia Addams vibe from like the character. She didn't do a whole lot in the episode or in the maybe it's more in the longer one, but in the shorter one, I didn't feel like she did very much. But I did get more of a Morticia.
To be honest, in the longer one too, she still didn't do anything. They basically went back to season 1 of Munsters with the women and just nope, you're not in this episode. Basically, unfortunately, we've had those discussions of when they finally started getting them in more screen time, and then they ended up getting canceled anyways. So that is the 60s, unfortunately, and in the 70s they weren't any different.
I did like how when the cousins arrived, they were playing their music. I thought the music sounded pretty good, but everyone was like upset by it, and it's like
when you say everyone, like, what do you mean everyone?
Well, like, Grandpa was hiding in the basement. Lily didn't care for it. The Raven really didn't care for it when they said they're going to be practicing for 3 weeks. He flew out of the house.
Well, you got to remember, they're, in the 70s, the rock music and stuff was more of like it was done for like,
but they fell in with the hippies,
man. Like, you got to do it, and we've already discussed that the Munsters, at least the adults, are more conservative in their way of living and stuff. So it kind of makes sense for them to not be into the beatnik shit.
Yeah, I guess we had a whole episode where they got into it, but one of my favorite
after the fact, though.
One of my favorite jokes in this is where they come down and like, "What is it? It's so great how we sound after one session. Imagine how we sound after 3 weeks." And Herman goes, "I can, but I can't imagine where we'll be living."
Oh, that's funny. All right, so where do we want to go from here, guys? Like, do you have anything specific that you wanted to touch on with this, Austin?
No, pretty much everything that I had from, at least from the version I watched, we talked about already.
Okay. Could you guys have imagined? I wrote this. This is like literally my only note I wrote on my phone last night. Could you have imagined Al Lewis, Grandpa Munster? Just picture this, guys. Live action. Okay. Turns into a bat, and Al Lewis's head is still on the bat. Because when they did it in the animation, I was just like, oh man, that would have been so sick to see in the 60s. I have no clue how the hell they would have done it, but
I'm curious how the hell he's doing skywriting as a bat. Like, what else did this pill do to him?
No, yeah, that was my main thought. I was just like, oh, that would have been so, like, no way you would have canceled that show if Al Lewis would have had his head on the bat, right? Like, you can't do that. Oh. And I'm sure there's a way to do it with like some type of prosthetic too. Add on.
Yeah, probably.
I can see why they didn't do more of these, but at the same time, like, after watching it, I was kind of like, I kind of did want to see more of these. Like, yeah. I think it deserves even like a short season.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, Oh, go on.
I was gonna say there was this movie that I would watch at my grandparents' house. They had a VHS of like these old. There was like a Three Stooges animated show, and they had like a few episodes on this VHS or whatever, and it kind of gave me that vibe too, where it's just like it's like an old thing that they kind of bring into a more modern. It's like, and if they can do Three Stooges in multiple, I think they could have done this.
Yeah, definitely.
I wish they would put this on Peacock because, as nice as it is to watch, the version we have sucks.
They won't even put the Munsters on Peacock for free right now.
I mean, even if it's not free, just put it on there. Like, do something with this franchise. Give us stuff.
They're
You
not
have
gonna
content.
give you
Let us view it.
anything. They're not gonna do shit. Like, they don't actually care about this franchise. That's why Rob Zombie had to do it under the cheapest freaking production label that they have. They don't care anymore. Like, they care enough to, like, you know, the old show is their pride and joy, but they don't care enough for people to actually see anything else. They don't give a crap. Sorry. It seems like it. And I hope that the fans out there understand what I mean, as in not like the people who made the stuff, but like the actual corporation themselves don't give a crap.
Yeah, well, I mean, what has really changed over the years? Because we, even in like that very early episode where Herman crashes the car with the bank robbers, they have the graffiti on the wall talking shit about one of the executives who wanted to get him canceled.
Yeah.
So they've kind of been the ugly stepchilders forever.
Yeah.
But it is kind of shitty, like, because there is a really big kind of fan base for this this franchise as a whole. But really, like, I wasn't even aware of how much there was until you guys started doing the podcast and I started looking more into it. Like, I knew there was the 80s show and there was a couple movies, but I like but I wasn't even aware of how much stuff there was. And it's just like, how has none of this seen the light of day? I mean, because Munsters Today went like what, 3 seasons or something like that?
It was longer than the original.
And it's like
it even got Emmys. It won Emmys. And
that show, like, I've never seen anything but clips from Munsters Today.
Yeah. They have it on like their streaming thing, but then it says unavailable. So I'm like, oh, great. That means nothing. Just take it off. You're wasting bandwidth space of just having a freaking page for it right now. It's ridiculous. Yeah, no, like the fandom.
Don't tell them to start mimicking HBO.
The fandom though is like where this franchise has grown and lived and everything, and we've been able to share. Like you find other fans that have like, oh hey, I got like episode 5, 6, and 7 of, you know, Munsters Today. Oh hey, I got like 8 through 10. Let's, you know, swap, or let's get you guys copies or some shit like that. So, and I feel that's like one of the main ways, because like you said, Munsters Today, hard to find. It took me forever to get it. Oh yeah. So it's gonna be an interesting road as far as like what they do with the Munsters, because I'm like, I know you like your stance on like the new Munsters movie and stuff coming out and everything, but like I'm like, I hope it does really well to the point where it sparks the company to be like, oh hey, let's do an animated show, let's do this, let's do some animated movies, things like that.
As harsh as I have been on the Rob Zombie Munsters, I do have that hope too. I just don't think it's going to happen. I'm not gonna get details on my opinions on that, because I don't want to anger. I don't want a bunch of angry fan mail from Munsters fans saying how wrong I am.
That is right down here below. And
no, you are absolutely right though about the fans keeping the show alive. Like, if it wasn't for Frank and the community behind Munsters Today, I don't know if that show would even be, you know, as
known.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, and again, I want to shout out the Munsters Today fans on Facebook, because they've graciously allowed us to promote the show on there and stuff. And Frank's a cool guy. I know you've been talking with, you know, so it's the fans, you know, we see it with us and you know, Derek and his crew, they're like, we are the ones bringing the Munsters back.
Yeah.
And well, I would want to say us. I meant the fans. The fans, not us. We're doing like the bare minimum here. Though the fans, the royal us. We're keeping the show alive much more than the fucking studio is. And, the Universal Parks are going to have their Universal Munsters attraction done in a couple years. Do you think this is going to have any representation? Hell no. They don't care. And that's so sad. Like, they have no idea the thing they have.
Yeah. And especially right now, because you still have 2 remaining original cast members alive with this show, they could be doing so much more for everything. Like, those cast members I'm talking, the studio could do so much more utilizing them, pushing some of the other brand, some of their content and stuff,
especially with the kind of revival and life that Addams Family has gotten consistently
every decade.
Yeah, it's like Addams Family, it started out as pretty much kind of the same type of show, a black and white kind of reminiscent of old monster movie kind of vibe.
Kinda, yeah. They were a bit around as a comic beforehand, but
I mean,
he's talking just the show itself.
The show itself. And so like they were contemporaries, and Addams Family has had this long life, and they keep doing it. Like, we got the new Wednesday Addams show coming out on Netflix pretty soon,
right around the same time as the movie.
And so it's like, why do they have so much success, but like the Munster doesn't? Because I feel like the Munsters is the same kind of vibe. So I feel like the people responsible for keeping one should, but like it is a pretty drastic schism. There's like Addams Family is this big thing, and we get the 90s movies, and then now we have this, and we have the animated stuff that they've been doing. And like Munsters, we have that one failed pilot on NBC from like early 2000s,
which
was 2011.
Wasn't that done by the X-Men guy? Right?
I don't remember. I remember watching it.
I can look it up,
but I don't remember who made. And then we have this, and that was like 20 years difference, like between like the failed Munsters, the Mockingbird Lane pilot, and Rob Zombie's movie. That's like 20 years difference, and we've had a lot of Addams Family content in that same time. Yeah, Bryan Singer.
Yep. Bryan Singer, which he basically took and did what everybody who thought Rob Zombie was going to do, and took everything the Munsters was about out. It's crazy to see like how a studio can have a franchise, a property, and just not give 2 shits about, especially in the day and age where we're about reboots, requels, sequels, prequels, all that shit. Like, how are you not like? I understand. Yes, they're doing the Rob Zombie one now, but how long did he have to fight to get that? Or how long until they decide, oh, hey, we have this franchise. Do you want to do it?
And like you said, they also dropped it into the production company that does like really like low budget.
Yeah.
Like sequels and like straight to DVD.
Yeah. It was their like straight to DVD home video company back in the day. So they got like zero budget. They're the ones who did like, like like a Casper Meets Wendy type of movie or something, Yeah.
I watched a video. I watched a video about, it was one of the YouTube channels that I like, and they were talking about the Rob Zombie first trailer, and they were breaking it down, like the stuff that production company has done is really bottom of the barrel shit.
Yeah,
it wasn't Condor, was it?
What?
No.
It's, are you talking about the production company? It's called Universal like 14 something or another, or
no, like the YouTube channel.
Oh no. Okay. I'm trying to remember which one it was. I think it was like Captain Midnight or
okay,
something like that. I don't know. It was one of the they usually do or it's like Hats Off Entertainment.
Mhm.
I don't know. They usually do like videos on old content and like kind of video essay type things. And he did one on the Munsters, and
Yeah.
I just watched that actually after I watched the Mini Munsters episode. It got suggested to me on YouTube, and I was like, oh, okay. So because it was a YouTube channel that I follow, and
the algorithm works.
the algorithm worked there.
Algae rhythm.
The actual name of it is called Universal 1440 Entertainment, is the division for their like straight to video things and stuff like that. Yeah, so it kind of sucks, but you know, at the same time, that's like where I think that's one of the main reasons Rob Zombie got pissed off and said that one thing, because he was just like, you guys think I got 40 million to do this? You're fucking crazy, you know? Like people were like saying he had like millions and millions of dollars to do this, and he's like, dude, I haven't had 40 million to do like the last few movies together. So like, what makes you think that they gave me this for one movie? It's interesting to see though, because yeah, like I just really hope that something comes from this movie coming out and it sparks like either kids watching it, or it sparks more content to come within the next few years.
I would be happy if they just sparked them to fucking make this stuff viewable.
I do fear, because the Wednesday Addams show is coming out at the same time. I feel like
the rivalry continues.
Yeah, I feel like the Wednesday Addams show is going to be huge, because you know it's got like Tim Burton doing it, and it's this big thing,
big famous cast that everybody knows most of those cast members. So
right, and so I feel like it's going to be the same as the same song, different day kind of thing, you know, where it's like, you know, now people are going to watch that, and not a lot of people are going to watch Munsters, except the diehard Munster fans.
Yeah. What would really be messed up is if Warner Bros. Is like, oh yeah, and here's this Batman movie at the same time, and just destroys both of them.
Oh no, that ain't happening. They're canceling everything. We're good.
That's when they're actually going to drop Batgirl. You know that, right?
all I care about
I wish.
All I care about is they finally gave the official green light to the Batman 2. That's all I care about. I don't care about the DCEU as a whole. Just give me that trilogy.
Robot.
It's becoming an Operation Babel episode.
Sorry about that. You can also check out our other show, Operation Babel.
we are really in talks of bringing that back.
Show.
Yeah, for the holiday season.
I know Mike's gonna have to go here pretty soon, right?
Yeah, I gotta get going in a few minutes here.
I just want to say before we get into throwing out our where to find us and stuff, the movie when this episode drops, the movie will be about 2 weeks out, and if you're interested in it and you haven't yet, we have an affiliated link where you can buy the Blu-ray. If you want to own it, it's another way you can support the show. Well, otherwise, it'll be on Netflix.
Yeah. And especially a lot of people do want to own this because the way it's going, I highly doubt Universal is going to do more copies of distribution for it later down the road. Because they just don't. The only thing that gets distribution really is the original series, it seems. And even that, when they announced the day or they dropped the trailer for the Rob Zombie, they like put it behind the paywall and stuff like that to watch it on streaming. So
what was that one we had trouble? The movie, was it Revenge? No, it was the last. It was the two 90s movies. The Christmas one is easy to find. The other one is, for some reason, it's like out of production, and we had to get it through a third party.
Wrong one. It's called
I have it behind me. I just don't want to go grab it.
Okay. Yeah, so do I. It's like the Munsters, whatever. Fuck it. Let me grab it.
Yeah, they make this stuff so hard to find for no reason. But while he's getting that, would you like to share where to find you?
Yeah, well, I'm a amateur photographer. You can find me at Austin Mosher Photos on Instagram. I also do YouTube show with my friends. We only have one episode of this show up. It's called Backstage at Bigfoot. If you just Google or if you just type in on YouTube Backstage at Bigfoot, you'll find us there. It's kind of a mix between a live concert and a podcast kind of thing where we talk with local musicians about their journeys in music and hear their music. It's pretty cool. I do the direction and video editing on the show. So if you want to check that out, that would be greatly appreciated.
Do you guys do those only like in person, like interviews, or do you do them like through digital means as well?
So far we've only done them in person.
Okay.
Just the first two episodes. The first episode was with an artist named Shane Piazecki. He's a local singer songwriter. He did spend a lot of time in Nashville, and he's a really cool guy. And so the first episode was with him, and the second one was with a blues artist from the Toledo area where I live, named Nikki D, and she and they're friends of like my friend who owns the studio that we record at, and
right.
So like these first two episodes are kind of like the Shane Piazecki episode was very much like a proof of concept pilot kind of thing. And then unfortunately I've been super busy and haven't edited the second one, but that should be coming out pretty soon.
Please tell me you add in Ugly Eddie Munster in the pilot episode.
Absolutely.
Or you should have dressed up like him. Like, anyways, guys, the movie that Tivis was talking about was the Here Come the Munsters, the movie.
Yeah. We had to get European imports.
Yes. So it's a good thing I play mine on Xbox because, you know, it'll play it.
Region-free players are a lifesaver when it comes to the stupid region lock that still exists for some reason.
I literally bought a region-free player just so I could watch The Barbarians, the movie. It had the twin muscle guys back in the day from the 90s. Awesome movie, guys. And actually, it's not that awesome, but it was when I was a kid.
If you guys aren't aware, Here Come the Munsters is the one in the 90s where the original surviving cast minus Fred appear in a cameo scene.
Yeah, this was a good one.
Yeah.
Is this the one where they like all appear like at a table somewhere, like a restaurant, and they're like, oh, that family looks familiar or something? Like they have like a kind of a joke like that.
Yep. It's also the one that Edward Herman plays, Herman Munster, that I was talking about. Also, the girl who plays Marilyn is also the same girl who plays Marcia in the Brady Bunch movies that we've talked about on the show in the past with Mr. Roebuck. So,
she is.
So yeah, I'm surprised this is the one that's hard to get. This is what I'm talking about, Universal. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Sorry. But it's crazy. Like, how is this the hardest one to find? The Christmas one should have been buried more than this.
Unfortunate, but true.
I have yet to see this also. I've been waiting for the podcast. That's why
this is the one that I was muddying up my memories from watching as a kid with my dad.
Yeah. They played it on TV a couple of times, if I recall, right, from Specs. But Austin, I appreciate you coming on, man. Do you have any last words on the Munsters franchise as a whole right now, man?
Or even just Mini Munsters, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm excited for new Munsters content. I'm not specifically happy with what we're getting, but I'm hoping. I am hoping that it sparks life into this franchise, and maybe some of this stuff will become easily available. Like, give us some box sets. I don't care. Just drop it on some streaming service. Because I would like to have it.
You own Peacock already.
Yep.
Use it.
I don't. Come on, man.
I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about the company.
So yeah, I like I was talking about in the episode that I was on when we talked about the unaired pilot. I grew up watching the Munsters. I love the Munsters. I think they deserve more respect. The respect that Addams Family gets, I think Munsters deserves that as well, and they don't always get it. And so I'm trying to be optimistic with the dropping of Rob Zombie's movie that something good happens with the franchise, because so far it seems like so much of the franchise has been buried in like cancellation and like failed pilots and reboots. And so it's like, I hope that they get something successful because they deserve it.
And I'd like to also thank you, because like not only just for coming on the show, but I know like your opinions and stuff on the new Munsters movie, but I also want to point out to our fans out there, because there are people that have been arguing with other people about this for the last few months now. I want you all to know that Austin is not like one of those people who's just going to be like, oh yeah, fuck the Munsters or something like that. Just because. I mean,
he will to us just to annoy us, but
no, he won't. He won't say it like that. But no, like just
not on the show.
He's not like one of those people who's out there purposefully trying to annoy you or anything like that. He just has his own opinions, and it's good, but he doesn't try and push it onto you to get you to change your mind. Right?
Right.
I would say.
I try to. I know all. I know art
guy. So
no, I know art is subjective, and if you think the new Munsters movie looks great, power to you. I don't share that opinion, but like I said, I'm hoping one way or the other that it's successful and we get more Munsters content. So that's all I care. I'll make you
a black and white version and send it to you. All right, man.
It looks way better in black and white. I've seen there's YouTube channels that have shared like shots and clips of it changed to black and white, and it looks a million times better. So much better.
I refuse to believe that it's not going to be an option on the Blu-ray.
Or
he's way too smart and in the know.
Like the Snyder
not
cut
just Snyder cut, but Logan or any of those other ones, Mad Max, good movies, not Snyder's.
Watch Logan in black and white. Screw that.
I mean, that is a thing now. They do a black and white version. A Parasite did it, and like you said,
just
Mad
go out
Max
and buy
did
a black and white TV and don't worry.
One of those old tubes, the round ones.
Anyways, I just wanted to set that straight, that like Austin's not like one of those guys out on Twitter that's constantly just in everyone's comments and stuff like that. He just has his own opinion, but he doesn't live on it. He, I'm not a troll. Yeah.
I'm not trying to. I'm not these people who are review bombing like Lord of the Rings or shit like that. So
stop doing that. Just stop.
So I will still watch. I will say this. I'm still going to watch the movie. I think it looks not good, but I'm still going to watch it. So
we might put together like a panel of people to talk about it. So if you have watched it by the time we do that and we end up doing that, we'd like to invite you back on to do the discussion with us, because I don't just want everyone's opinion that's going to love the film too. I want actual critiques, because I'll criticize the stuff, and I know Tivis will just be like, I can't say anything. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings.
Tivis already made up his mind that it's the masterpiece, so he's not gonna say anything bad about it.
Oh, it's gonna be the best thing ever made. I haven't seen anything since C-Spot Run.
I watched I watched a Rob Zombie movie recently where I hadn't seen it, and I was just like, oh man, this isn't as good as I thought it was going to be compared to the one that came before it. So I was kind of sad.
That's how most Rob Zombie movies go for me. So
I still hold tight to my premise. Like The Devil's Rejects is one of his best works possible, like that he's done visually and story wise. And Austin's like, nope, I'm not going to answer. I'm not going to say anything.
His other films aren't for me. So,
but this is a completely different genre. So let's see what he does with it.
I mean, this is his first family friendly movie that he's ever done, which is interesting in of itself because everything else is very
he's gone on record talking about how he grew up on like Brady Bunch and other, sitcoms like that. So
could you just imagine a Rob Zombie Brady Bunch film? I would love to watch that.
Oh, I would not.
Give it a try. Like why not?
Rob Zombie does Gilligan's Island and we get to see real cannibals.
Someone do Gilligan's Island. No,
I would totally. I'm going to pitch that to him.
No,
you see, if he were to do another show, I feel like Gilligan's Island would be one that he could do.
It would work better.
Brady Bunch, absolutely not. But Gilligan's Island, I feel like has enough of his.
See, the only thing I know of the Brady Bunch are those like the 90s cannibals movies. And I'm in. So yeah. Anyways, I do have to get going. I do want to recommend a film this week. Nicolas Cage's Vampire Kiss. I picked this up and I want to give everyone the recommendation to go out and watch that film. I'm going to try and do that once a week now on Munster Mondays for everybody, just to recommend a film that works in the genre of the Munsters. So Universal Monsters type stuff.
And if it helps sell this movie, it has a scene that's about 2 minutes long where it's just Nick Cage running down the street screaming, I'm a vampire, I'm a vampire, I'm a vampire. And it's the best thing in the world.
I've seen this.
It's such a great film. I love
Nick Cage breaks down compilations. Oh, and I just hit my mic and peaked. Oh, well.
He's one of the best actors out there right now. I love him. I always love him. Anyways,
you can find me at Tivis 014 everywhere.
Okay.
Mike?
You can find the MunsterCast at TheMunsterCast.com. And you can also find our merch at TheMunsterCast.com/merch.
Not gonna plug yourself. All right.
The MunsterCast everywhere on social media via The MunsterCast. Hopefully we will start popping up when you Google The MunsterCast here and there. And
we have an unfortunate name.
Yep. And you can see our pretty ugly faces as well, always on the MunsterCast YouTube channel, as well as emailing us at themunstercast@outlook.com. Any questions, concerns, you want to come on to the show, do anything like that. And then you can also go to our website and click what, Tivis?
The microphone and leave us a voicemail or a voice message, I should say, that we will, or, if you want us to, we will play it on the show.
Yeah. So that's the quickest way to get onto the show. If you want to just say an opinion or ask a question and have it audioly.
You want to call us idiots? We'll play that on the show. We don't care.
Yep. Give us your opinions about everything.
I'm gonna leave one to calling you guys idiots now.
Okay.
We'll play it on the show.
Remember the guy who doesn't like the new Munsters movie and it hasn't even come out yet? No. All right, guys. With that said, Tivis, last words or no? You said everything.
The Mini Munsters is fun. Check it out.
Okay. Awesome. And you can find me at Mike Shrews on all social medias if you guys want to. I don't really care. I'd rather you follow the podcast. The MunsterCast. With that said, guys, we will catch you next time as we take another stroll down 1313 Mockingbird Lane.
The lesson I want you to learn is it doesn't matter what you look like. You can be tall or short, or fat or thin, or ugly, or handsome, like your father. Or you can be black or yellow or white. It doesn't matter. What does matter is the size of your heart and the strength of your character.
Okay. It's my brother's birthday today.
Which
Oh,
brother?
he can't hear
Travis.
this.
Kenny was the day after mine.
Damn, you didn't tell me. I didn't say anything.
I literally brought it up on the podcast.
Did
Because
you?
I bitched about how the fact my brother was born the day after mine. My mom was in the hospital the whole birthday. We literally had that discussion. He literally called me and called me an asshole for saying that.
No.
I need more light in here. I look too black. Too dark. Sorry, not black. There we go.
Oh,
There's some light. It's starting to look like a Twitch video. All right. You guys ready?
You want me to start recording?
You should have been recording since the record button's on for 1 minute and 27 seconds.
All right. Well, I'm recording now. Happy?